Welcome back to the third round. Unfortunately, this is game two. I lost game one, and it's just not in the replays. I'm not entirely sure why. Um, but yeah, basically, round one was not saved in my replays. It's just not there, so I can't bring you round one. Sorry, game one of round three. I guess that's one of the downsides of doing it off replays. Um, Having just realised that, I remember that in the past I have had similar problems of just not having replays from drafts. So I guess I'm lucky it was only that game. But yeah, sorry about that. I mulliganed to 5, and he made like Worm Coil Engine and then Engulfing Slagworm, while I had about 6 turns to draw Volition Runes and didn't. So there's the moan out of the way. That's what happened in game 1. On to this game. This game and the next one, in fact, have a lot of kind of obs and ironies. I'm not sure if that's right. I'm not sure if there's a good word for it, but obs, I think, is the best way of saying it. The first one I've mentioned earlier about Grind Clock being kind of the only thing that I'd be worried about, and it's played against me. But also the fact that I have a Disperse that I boarded in because he had a bunch of Boom Booms that kind of deal as a Grind Clock. That's kind of one of them. But the game just gets quite ridiculous, to be honest. You'll obviously see as the game goes on. I also have Cerebral Eruption, which I considered taking out against him because I only really saw a bunch of big guys. But I thought I'd keep it in just for one game to see how it went. Another ob, Ember Smith. The only artifact I've drawn is the 8-drop. Oh yeah, that was the other ob as well. Yeah, I was saying about Grind Clock, how Grind Clock would be a card that would beat me because Imperion doesn't stop it, and he's got the Grind Clock, and I've got the Imperion. As well as the Imperion going with the Ember Smith, and not going with it. But I mean, I draw the Silver Mirror anyway. But also note, this isn't complaining; it's just pointing out all the bizarre aspects of this game. He also is mana screwed, which is pretty lucky I drew the Silver Mirror because I can kill his Iron Mirror. So he still has nothing, which is nice. Draw my Argent Sphinx, which is nice. I probably made a mistake there. I probably should have bounced a Grind Clock. Because when he arrests the Sphinx, like, I've got the option of dispersing it, obviously. But I thought, because I have no way of protecting it again, he might have another arrest. And I'm just not beating that Grind Clock. And I'd rather just be able to disperse. I think dispersing the Grind Clock will buy me more turns than dispersing the Argent Sphinx, basically. That was my thinking behind doing that. Because with the Imperion, obviously, he is just straight up losing to Imperion if he can't deal with it. Whereas the Grind Clock's not going to bother me that much, especially if he charges it this turn. Because I just obviously just bounce it, and then it's going to take him like another 6 turns to get back on track. So he mills me, which is bad for me, but I bounce it and keep with that plan. He salvage scouts, which I obviously don't want to trade my Ember Smith with. And I make an Imperion. Pop a boom. So he can't deal with the Imperion, which is a good sign. It looks like that guy might just get there, and so I'm happy I killed the Grind Clock. Yeah, he draws a bunch of cards. He didn't want to salvage his Iron Mirror there, he'd rather draw the card. So at this point, like, I could just attack, let him chump, he'd take 2 effectively, go to 12, and I'd still have both my cards. But I thought if I'd turn to Slag, it kills his life staff, and that doesn't gain him life because of state-based effects. Like, if you turn Slag creature to life staff, they don't gain 3 life. Because it kills a life staff and then state-based effects checked, and it kills a creature after. Also, that would put him on 1. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, assuming he has nothing. So Cerebral Eruption at any point will kill him. If not, Ember Smith will at any point kill him. It also means if he has Dispense Justice, it's a lot better for me. Because if I attack with everything Dispense Justice, I'd sack, I guess, this. He can then trade with that. Take 8, gain 3, take 5, not be in that bad a position. So I figured even though turn slag's kind of a waste, like how I was saying earlier that it's good to get trigger, like some people, it's bad to get trigger happy with turn slag and just do it straight away because you get value out of it by killing equipment. In this case, it was the right play, like a thought through play, and not just, oh wow, I get a 2-4 here. So yeah, I figured there are a lot of reasons why it's good to turn to slag here. and he has Slice and Twain for my Imperion, so he actually could deal with it. He just needed the second Forest, which is a bit of a pain, but I mean it's still fine. I still have 3 guys to his none, and the Grind Clock's probably not getting there. He still needs 2 more turns to charge and then 3 turns of mill, so 5 turns, but the Hippogriff kind of makes it a bit awkward for me. But I draw... Yeah, sorry, I Cerebral Eruption, kind of just go for it while he's not equipped. If I hit 3, he'd go to 7, I'd be able to attack him for 5 down to 2, and then Perilous Mere is almost finishing him, basically. That was the thing there, because Perilous Mere pings him down to 1, and he can't even block it. I miss Ob. I miss Ob. Sorry, I'll just pause this for a second. So yeah, I miss Ob, so I can then make Perilous Mere ping his Hippogriff and attack with 2/2s, which he's not going to block, so I get in 4 free damage there, basically, rather than just pinging him and attacking with nothing. So yeah, last turn that's what I did. I pinged this and attacked, because I knew that he wouldn't want to trade until it's got life stuff on. So he draws and makes a Worm Coil Engine that killed me in game 1. Ob, because I didn't have the Volition Reins, so I untap and Ob draw Volition Reins. But before I go for the Volition Reins, you saw me tapping and untapping a lot there. I was just counting, I definitely have 10 mana. So before I go for Volition Reins, I decided to go for Cerebral Eruption, because if I hit 3... no, if I hit 4 or more, I just straight... No, yeah, if I hit 3... in fact, I think if I hit, I win. No, in fact, no, I need to hit 2 to win. So if I hit 2 or more, I win. If I hit 2, then he can only block a 2-power guy, take 4, die. If I hit 3 or more, then this dies, but he'd gain life back to 6, and then take 6. So if I hit 2 or more, I win. But if not, like that way I don't have to show him the reins. But if not, I'll just miss and show him the reins. So let's see if I hit first. In fact, no, I'm not. I don't know what I'm saying anyway, because I'd have to reins a Worm Coil to be able to get through anyway. No, that's the thing. If I hit 6, I definitely win. Ignore what I just said. If I hit 6, I win, so there's no point showing the reins. That was the whole point of that. If I hit 3 or more, like if I hit 2 or more, I'd still have to reins the Worm Coil. So yeah, I reins the Worm Coil. I miss Ob, hit a land, attack with everything, because it puts him on 3, and so he's dead to a much smaller range of cards. Sorry, a much bigger range of cards. It's Cerebral Eruption, and like I can also attack him with my stuff. He has Auroch Replica, which is kind of annoying against Cerebral Eruption, and he has Ob, the second Slice and Twain, to do with my Volition Range. So I Ob draw the second Volition Range. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of Obs in this game. Again, I have a bunch of options here. The Auroch Replica kind of makes Cerebral Eruption a bit worse for me, and so I decided to go for the Volition Reins first, because if I Cerebral Eruption, he pops Replica, prevents it to himself. I hit a 6, like I hit a Slagworm or something, he'd actually then get the tokens off Worm Coil. He'd gain 3, get tokens off Worm Coil, and I'm not in that good a position anymore. So, whereas last turn, I have to Cerebral first, because then if I hit 6 I don't have to show the reins. This turn it's better to play the reins. Yeah, and then Eruption, he mills me in response, which is fairly irrelevant, but I am on 6 cards in library, so I guess it's not irrelevant. I mean, it's irrelevant that he did it at that point in the turn. He does prevent to himself. I was actually quite glad he prevented to himself, I guess. I mean, in hindsight, obviously he missed, but if he hadn't prevented to himself, I couldn't have attacked very profitably, but because he did, I can now attack with these 2, and know he goes to 2 life guaranteed, and this just turns into a Palladium Mere. So he's now on 2 life, facing a Worm Coil, a Perilous Mere, a Silver Mere, and a Palladium Mere. But I'm on 6 cards in library, and I have a Grind Clock. So if he has like a... Sunblast Angel wouldn't do it. The only thing he could have here is Engulfing Slagworm, because that way I can't attack anymore. Because obviously he just eats something, gains a life. I can't attack with Worm Coil because he would gain 6 and then mill me out. And I can't attack with this because he'd just let it through and take 1. So at this point, the only way I'm losing is if he Ob hits his Slagworm, and I Ob miss for the 4th turn in a row with Cerebral Eruption. So, let's see what happens. He has a Slagworm. Ob. He has let him... Oh, and that was the other thing. I also could have drawn Galvanic Blast. I had 6 cards in my library, so not only did he have to have Engulfing Slagworm, and I had to miss, he also had for me, he needed me not to draw Galvanic Blast, but he milled it, so that was one of the obs out of the way. That's second ob out of the way. Third ob out of the way. Am I going to miss for the 4th time? No. I won that game. So yeah, back to game 2. He chose to play and just straight up snap kept his hand. Like, didn't even think about it, so I guess he's got a pretty good hand. But that's fine, because I've got turn 3 Sphinx, and like his deck really struggles to beat that. Outside of Arrest, he really struggles to beat that, but I've got Disperse for Arrest. So this hand seems pretty sick against him, so yeah, it's an obvious keep. Make the Mountain because... Oh, I did board out the Cerebral Eruption in this game, by the way. I've boarded in stuff like Stir Rebuttal, Disperse, and Sea Serpent as well, just because his deck's quite slow, and a 5/5 unblockable might actually just be enough to get there. Sorry, I forgot to say, if you missed that, he missed his second land drop on the play after snap keeping a 7. So this guy likes to gamble. I mean, he had Origin Spellbomb, but if he bricks for a turn, I mean, it's pretty risky, especially because he saw how many powerful spells I had. But he hit the second turn with the Forest as well, not even another Plains, so the gamble paid off, I guess. But I still get my turn 3 Sphinx, so all is good. I assemble Metalcraft as soon as possible, just to protect myself from Arrest. And sorry, I'll just move that. He makes Next Champion, which doesn't really bother me. Like, it's not racing me as fast as I'm racing him, and I have Galvanic Blast and Disperse to like boost the race in my favour. So yeah, I just do the classic trick of attack, flick it out so he can't attack back, like untap it basically. He has Mimic Vat, which again doesn't really bother me because I've got Disperse. So he's obviously going to try and get it on, like going to try and get an Auric Replica on his Mimic Vat, but I have Disperse, so all is fine. Yeah, he attacks it, he goes to prevent it, I flick it out now just to save time, like, it doesn't make any difference. I'll make my Perilous Mirror, a bunch of stuff in a way. Make my Perilous Mirror and pass. Oh yeah, I put a stop in his main phase at this point, because it's kind of hard to get him. I wanted to get him by bouncing his Mimic Vat in the end step, but I can't do that because then he just makes a Replica and it lives during my turn. So I kind of set a stop in his main phase, hoping that I could get that and he wouldn't notice it's still his main phase and just pass the turn. But yeah, he attacks here, and I actually block just because the only thing he's racing me back with is an Etched Champion, and I don't care about him getting either Perilous Mirror or an Etched Champion under his Mimic Vat because it exiles, so he's not going to get Perilous Mirror triggers. So yeah, I just kill his Etched Champion. Now he's just got nothing racing me. And he makes a Razor Hippogriff, which is kind of annoying. Like, Omp has it, but yeah, so that gains life. It means I have to use my Blast now when it gets back as that champion, which was the thing racing me. But yeah, I just use my Blast. He puts Hippogriff under Mimic Vat, so I bounce it and draw a land, but whatever. I've drawn some good spells this game. But yeah, I would like to draw spells at some point soon. He has Slice and 20 for my Iron Mirror, which is, like, it breaks up Metalcraft, but unless he has the Arrest, which he didn't have on turn 3, obviously he might have drawn it since he's drawn a bunch of cards, but unless he has the Arrest, that's not actually relevant. So yeah, bounce that out in response. At this point I don't have Metalcraft, so I might as well just pop my Spell Bomb and see if I draw a good spell to cast, and I do. So I'm glad I popped it. So yeah, I attack him with Sphinx, makes Sphinx. So even if he has the Arrest now, I still have a Sphinx. But he's on 9, which is really awkward. It makes me think, did I miss a point of damage somewhere? I probably did. I'm sure all you YouTube commenters will go back and find out where that was. Yeah, so at this point, like, I'm drawing more land, which is obviously frustrating. But at this point, I have, like, I can attack with this. I can chomp with this next turn, go to like take 4. I then kind of need a lot of stuff. This might have to start going back on chump duty, but yeah, I really basically needed a spell there. He makes Trigon of Corruption, which is really bad for me because it kills my blocker and puts me on 1 when he attacks, but he doesn't have the land to equip as well, so he doesn't kill me this turn. But at this point he's going to attack me to 1, and pass a turn. Well, yeah, pass a turn. He'll be on 5. If I draw Volition Reigns, it'll be the actual sickest victory ever, because I can Volition Reigns his life staff my Sphinx, and attack him for 5. So at this point, I'm praying to the magic god, bashing my computer, top deck one time dealer and all that. Volition Reigns one time, but it's a land, and I scoop. Kind of a shame. I'm pretty sure my deck was better than his. Like, his was just a bunch of bombs, and I just think he got the better draw on the day. Like, I got a bunch of lands, but that's magic. It happens. We learn to get over it, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.